Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, some big news for Quinnipiac students. We have the latest developments on completed construction on campus.
And a look at how a national issue can directly impact your federal assistance.
Plus, a visit to real-life Candyland just down the street.
All that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Gage Kilborn.
And I'm Dylan Summer. It has been another busy week here at Quinnipiac and in the town of Hamden, so let's not waste another minute.
I agree, Dylan. The Student Government Association election results were announced on Tuesday night.
Q30's Joe Monty has more on the winners of the election.
The Quinnipiac student government held several elections yesterday, Tuesday, September 19th, for several significant positions within the student government. Among them included the 2027 class president and 11 various Senate positions. The newly elected officials are looking forward to representing their class and their peers.
I've been looking forward to this pretty much since I got to QU. I've loved it from the start, and I really can't wait to make a difference in this community and improve QU for all of us.
The winners want to bring new voices and new ideas to the SGA, as well as advocate on behalf of student concerns.
I plan to advocate on a lot of different issues that our class wants and to represent them well. And yeah, I hope we can get some initiatives I have planned passed.
According to the SGA, this election had historic turnout. Over 1,400 votes were cast, and more impressively, about 45% of the freshman class participated.
Whether you're a candidate or you're a voter, having a student government shows that you are deciding who's going to help run your university and who's going to represent the students.
It's important to vote in these elections because it's the most impactful way students can choose people to represent them and their interests on campus.
Perhaps in high school your class president was planning prom. Our class president focuses on student experience issues, whether it's in relation to having AC issues or issues with the mail center that they can advocate on behalf. We are a high-functioning organization. We are the main advocacy group here on campus. We govern the orgs and we advocate for students.
The newly elected members were sworn in today at 4 p.m. and got right to work at their first meeting. Reporting from Quinnipiac for Q30 News, I'm Joe Monty.
The Director of Student Conduct and Community Standards, Stephen Sweet, released an email warning students about the increase in date rape drugs. The symptoms and risks of the drugs are still the same, but the methods for how they have been consumed have changed over time. The drugs can be added to individual drinks, punch bowls, coolers, and even smoking devices, such as vapes. The university wants students to be aware whenever they go out on the weekends and to report a concern to qu.edu/report.
Bobcat Way will be temporarily closed due to the construction of the South Quad. Faculty and staff who enter the Mount Carmel campus from the New Road entrance will be able to park in the lots near Buckman Theater and Tater Hall. Only authorized motorists that are primarily making deliveries or responding to emergencies will have access to the loading dock area behind the bookstore. These motorists will also be able to access the eastern section of Bobcat Way by using the entrance near Mountain View, the residence hall closest to Hogan Road. The Accounting, CIS, and Finance Career Fair was held on Monday from 9 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. at BurkeCon Court. Students interested within the field got the opportunity to explore general and specific information about careers and employers. The fair also provided the chance for students to learn more about internships, part-time, summer, and entry-level positions.
The Quinnipiac School of Nursing has partnered with the Diaper Bank to kick off the Diaper Bank Drive on Monday. The drive will last until Friday, October 14th. The School of Nursing asks for faculty, staff, and students to bring in diapers for donation, donate funds, or donate their time by volunteering to repack diapers for distribution. The university just launched a new IQ. It will serve as a new way for career development and experiential learning for students to find greater success in their careers. the Director of Career Development in the School of Computing and Engineering, John Bao, stated, quote, Quinnipiac has been consistently named as one of the best, if not the best, university in the country for successful outcomes 10 years after graduation, end quote. As part of this initiative, the university hired Brooke Penders to fill as the Employers Relations Director to help strengthen and expand Quinnipiac's portfolio for its students. Earlier today, the Community Action Project conducted a blood drive on campus, and needless to say, the organization was more than grateful for the generous donations from the students.
We unfortunately have been in a blood emergency, so we've had an urgent need as of late for blood donations. We do typically see that coming out of the summer time period, and we're looking forward to being back on college campuses like Quinnipiac this fall in order to get that surplus back up.
Going back to last April, President Olean announced that Quinnipiac would conduct a university-wide climate assessment. The first campus-wide climate survey will ask for students' opinions on a variety of dimensions that include working, living, and learning at Quinnipiac. No personally identifiable data will be collected from the surveys, and the confidentiality of all responses are guaranteed. And as we see here, there is a QR code to go ahead and for students to take that survey and complete it.
You know, Dylan, all of the climate change is making me wonder, what's the weather like in Connecticut?
Well, Gage, I'm not a meteorologist either, but unfortunately we have Ben Rickovicius, who knows everything when it comes to looking at the sky.
A high of 74. Do some outside activities. Tomorrow looking like more of the same. 73 is our high and a low of 51. And then Friday gets still low.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why?
My.
Oh.
Educational consultant. You can sign up at admissions.quinnipiac.edu.
Quinnipiac has been recognized as one of the top universities for veterans to attend in the United States. The university was honored among Victory's recent military-friendly school rankings. Victory is a service-disabled, veteran-owned business. Quinnipiac came in as the top university in Connecticut on the list and third best in the United States for veterans to attend.
The first measurable is on what our student veterans do. It is their retention rate and their graduation rate. And it's high based on them balancing work, life, and school and being able to do that effectively. And when they need help and when they need support, it's there quickly, and they can be successful.
The university was also recognized as being a top 5 school in the state of Connecticut. As number 1, of course, is Yale, being number 5 ranked nationally, and then UConn, University of Connecticut, ranked number 58th nationally, as well as Fairfield in 3rd, Quinnipiac University at 4th, and Sacred Heart sitting at 5th.
Connecticut increased the minimum wage from $15 to $15.69. This change comes as a result of the state's first ever economic indicator adjustment. The employment cost index increased by 4.6% over the 12-month period ending on June 30th, 2023. Governor Ned Lamont announced that minimum wage increase will be set beginning of next year.
With rumors of the United States government shutting down, Q30's Julia Barcello sat down with political science and economics professor Jonathan Dawn to tell us what this means for Quinnipiac.
Many Americans are beginning to worry about their finances after House Republicans proposed a spending bill that could shut down the federal government in 2 weeks. Republican lawmakers will not increase the set debt ceiling until the government agrees to deep spending cuts and add more Border Patrol agents. The bill would cut spending 8% except for military, disaster relief, and Veterans Affairs. Stopgap's the short-term funding measure to keep the government funded through October after the end of the fiscal year would cut nearly 1% of current federal spending to prevent a government shutdown. During a press conference, Senator McCarthy explained the goals for the bill.
What we want to do is we want to be able to win the policies that we've been fighting for and telling the American public. We want to make sure our border becomes secure. We want to stop the runaway spending.
There's only a slim chance of the passing since Democrats hold a majority of the Senate, but this impasse could lead to a government shutdown. Quinnipiac Chair of Economics Johnson Dawn stated how this can impact the economy.
If you let this last for weeks, become pretty obvious pretty quickly, and it does slow the economy down, and it would have an impact on people beyond the government workers. I think at that point it's difficult to believe they don't come to their senses and say we can't keep doing this.
The shutdown will impact any federal workers, including students with federal work study. Quinnipiac professors explain more on how this will impact Quinnipiac students.
If it's a relatively short shutdown, you get some minor impacts, mostly disrupting some people's lives. It might have some impact on loan payment timing and contacting people.
For more details on how this may impact your financial aid, reach out to the Quinnipiac Office of Financial Aid. Reporting from Quinnipiac, I'm Julia Barcello, Q30 News.
Sticking with politics, Q30's Ben Kane now joins us with his latest updates on the prisoner swap in Iran, Hunter Biden's gun charges, and the dress code in the Senate. Ben?
Thanks, guys. Land of the free and home of the brave. 5 Americans have been released from Iranian detention this week and returned home. It has been over 1 year since negotiations began to bring the Americans home, with the first tangible steps taking place 5 weeks ago, when the remaining 4 were moved to join the 5th American under house arrest. The Americans were released as a part of a wider deal that saw the U.S. unfreeze 6 Americans on a private family. Continue to better vote 2018. Biden was indicted last week President's son previously tried to make an agreement with even though summer is almost the sergeant at arms to no longer enforce the informal dress code for senators on the floor. This decision would no longer require male senators to wear suits while on the floor, which is causing a lot of commotion. The change comes largely in part to Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman's preference to wear shorts and hoodies. Fetterman isn't the only American not abiding by the formal dress code. In fact, CNN reported that only 3% of men wear business clothes on both days, which is down 14% over the past 10 years. For women, only 3% wore a suit or business clothing to work in 2023. Now that's all I have for this political segment. I'm Ben Kane. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Ben. We're going to take a brief commercial break, but don't go anywhere.
Yes, because when we return, we have the weekly weather report from Ben Rickovicius once again, and also Haley Wynn reporting on what's going on across the country. Stick with us.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Identify how stress leads to being overwhelmed and burning out. They will also understand the neuroscience of stress and take part in 3 different activities that is designed to reduce stress while they are in the moment. Now let's bring back Ben Rickovicius. Ben Rickovicius here to give us a 7-day forecast.
Thanks, guys. I already gave you a quick preview at Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Nice and sunny, but a little bit of a curveball for this weekend. It's going to start raining. Mostly showers here on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday going to be a high of 65, low of 59, so around the same temperature all day. And a little bit more of a drop-off on Sunday as the high will be 70 and a low of 56. We'll transition over here to Monday and Tuesday, and still little showers in the morning on Monday, so you're going to want to pack a raincoat maybe to your early classes. But a high of 73. By the end of the day, things will start to get a little bit more sunny, and we have a low of 57 on Monday. And on Tuesday, it's cloudy for most of the day, so it's going to be 71. So kind of maybe a little humidity warning to watch on. So we'll take a look now around the state of Connecticut for tomorrow. As we mentioned, things are going to be pretty sunny on Thursday, and you can kind of look here on Norwich. 74 is our high. In New London, it's 73. Across the state, it's all sunny. Here in New Haven, it's 75. So we're around the mid-70 range for temperature, and it's going to be really nice tomorrow. So definitely find a way to get outside and have some fun. That's all for the weather. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks, Ben. On Tuesday, Quinnipiac held a voter registration table outside the Carl Hansen Student Center on the Mount Carmel campus. The table was open from 11 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Quinnipiac also set up an additional table outside the cafeteria on the North Haven campus from 11 o'clock a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. At each table, there were QR codes to scan that took you directly to the website to vote in Connecticut or outside of Connecticut. Vice President of the Quinnipiac Democrats, Alyssa Drum, touched on getting more younger people to vote.
Young people need to start being a part of the change that we want to see, especially on the level of government. Local elections are incredibly important. People don't realize how much decisions made by the Hamden government affect what we do here at Quinnipiac.
Speaking of national news, we have Haley Wynn, who is in to inform us on what is happening in our beautiful nation. Haley?
Thanks, Gage and Dylan. A Massachusetts mother, Lindsay Clancy, who previously attended Quinnipiac University, is being charged with murder and strangulation after she allegedly killed her 3 children. Police responded to a call about a woman who attempted to commit suicide. At the scene, they found 32-year-old Clancy, who was treated immediately. Later, police found her 3 children who were pronounced dead, and one died days later at Boston Children's Hospital. The cause of death was asphyxia complications. An F-35 fighter jet went missing after the pilot ejected during a training mishap. The pilot ejected the aircraft safely and was taken to a local medical center in stable condition. The debris was found about 80 miles away after the F-35 traveled a great distance on autopilot before crashing in South Carolina. Officials are investigating the situation and are asking people to keep away from the crash site. Lastly, West Nile virus cases are on the rise across the United States. According to the CDC, 880 cases were reported as of last week. West Nile is a mosquito-borne disease which can cause infections that are in some cases deadly. West Nile is at its worst during mosquito season, which is most commonly known to be summer through fall. The disease is most prominent in the west and southwest. However, the East Coast is monitoring the situation. That's all I have for this week's national news. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Haley. Well, it's already time for our last break of the night. When we return, Q30's James Blano is in the studio to break down what happened last weekend in Quinnipiac women's athletics.
Also, Q30's Sydney Weimer made the trip to Candyland as it came to life in Wallingford. Keep it here.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast. Let's get right back into it. The Rocky Top Student Center opened on Quinnipiac's York Hill campus back in August of 2010. Nearly 10 years later, the On the Rocks Pub and Grill was established. The restaurant is a celebration of the student voices on campus. Last Thursday, On the Rocks reopened for the 2023-2024 school year. The establishment recently announced that they will no longer be open on Mondays and instead be open on Wednesdays along with Thursdays. In addition, they released that it will be open from 6 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Students can scan the QR code at the table to look at the menu. Some of the students' favorite menu items are the Bavarian pretzel, the Bobcat burger, and the brownie caramel cheesecake. After nearly 3 years, Quinnipiac's tennis teams have finally returned to Hamden. Now, with the construction of the new courts finished, both teams have a court to call home. Q30's Keenan Mills has more.
The tennis courts have returned to campus, and after 2 seasons of having to travel off campus for practices, both the men's and women's tennis teams have a new home on Mount Carmel. The teams had been traveling to North Haven, but now just have the short walk to North Lot.
It's really refreshing to have courts here. We've waited for a long time, and there was a lot of controversy, getting the courts back on campus with parking spots and stuff, but I think we've handled it very well as a university.
The 6 brand new courts are right in the middle of North Lot, acquired with lights so that they can be used at night. The construction of the new rec center and the quad out front caused the old courts to be destroyed. Playing right next to the rugby field, the women's team is looking for their first MAC championship since 2018, and the men's team looks to get back to the championship game after being there just 2 seasons ago.
After the decision was made last spring to start construction by the town of Hamden and Quinnipiac University, the new courts were at expense of 145 parking spots in the already packed north lot. With the arrival of these new tennis courts on campus, the tennis teams aren't the only ones putting them to use. Students can use them whenever they find the time.
I think they look beautiful. I've seen a couple people actually already want to come on. So I think it's a shame that it took away from parking, but I think they look great. And I'm happy that they're here.
As the season turns to fall, all are welcome to utilize the newest edition of the school before the teams start their season in the spring.
On the topic of sports, Q30's James Blano is here with us to give his latest news on the Quinnipiac athletics on campus.
Thanks, Gage and Dylan. It was a big week in Quinnipiac sports, so let's get right down to business and break down the biggest stories from this week, starting with volleyball. That's right, the Bobcats opened the weekend with a convincing sweep against Niagara on Saturday. The team was powered behind a packed house at the Burtcon Court and powered them to the first conference win of the season and swept their next game against Canisius off the back of their standout performers, outside hitters Yamor Ganesh and Leilani Kaijusta and setter Damla Ganesh. The Bobcats are 2-0 and look to build on their momentum as the season continues. Jumping across campus to field hockey, Nina Klein's squad picked up their first Big East win over the weekend after taking down Bryant earlier in the week and built on their success picking up the first conference win of the Nina Klein era in Providence on Sunday. With goals from Stella Titmeyer and Lucia Pompeo, the Bobcats took a close one from the Friars and now look ahead to their game against Villanova on Friday in Hamden. After a long summer's wait, hockey season is finally here. The women's ice hockey team is back on Saturday with an exhibition against in-state rivals, the Yukon Huskies. Cass Turner's team placed 8th in the first USCHO poll of the season, and the Bobcats are looking to build on last season's second-round NCAA tournament exit at the hands of the Ohio State Buckeyes. With players like Madison Chandler and Maya Labad taking increased roles after the departure of talent like Lexia Gia and Olivia Mobley, we'll see how they end up faring. For Q30 News, I'm James Bueno. Let's kick it back to you, Gage and Dylan.
Well, thank you, James. That does sound like a very exciting start to the season for women's ice hockey starting to kick up, men's ice hockey right around the corner. Dylan, we're both sports enthusiasts. What's your team? What's your favorite game this week?
I got to go with field hockey versus Villanova, a Big East matchup. We get to see what this new field hockey team and this new reign of Nina Klein has in store.
That is great to hear. But now shifting to something else that sounds like a lot of fun is a local Wallingford farm create a life-size Candyland game. Dylan, this sounds exciting.
Yeah, for more on this sweet story, we send it to Q30 Sydney Weimer for more.
Calling all candy lovers. If you're looking for a sweet escape, a local attraction aimed at providing just that should be your next destination. Beaumont Farm, located just next door in Wallingford, has created a life-size game of Candyland for visitors to play. The attraction is located within the farm's many other outdoor exhibits, which themes change multiple times throughout the year. Owner of the farm, Billy Beaumont, shared where the inspiration to create a real-life Candyland came from. We have been decorating the corner for about the last 20 years for Christmas. Well, recently, we started to do stuff in the summer and spring, and it just seemed like the next thing to build. It's been unbelievable. Included in the display is a walkable game board, larger-than-life placemakers, and a massive spinner so that individuals can play the game, Candyland, while being surrounded by delicious-looking decorations. The attraction took an extensive 2 years to build, but nonetheless is free for all to visit. Beaumont's Candyland is a hit among all ages, but children are the ones who find the exhibit most magical.
I really like how they added Gingerbread Man to the real board game.
I like the house, and I have the board game of Candyland.
Parents as well are finding joy in bringing to life the nostalgic game that they grew up with.
I just loved it as a board game when I was a kid, and now this is my nephew, and he heard about it through school, and we had to come and visit it, and we're just loving it so far.
If you are looking to visit the life-size Candyland or any other of Beaumont's attractions, information on the farm's location and hours of operation can be found on their Facebook page.
Coming to you from one sweet destination, I'm Sydney Weimer, Q30 News.
That looked very fun, and unfortunately that wraps up this edition of the Q30 Newscast.
To stay up with the news happening around campus and Hamden, follow us on social media at Q30 News for all the latest updates.
Also, a special thanks to the producers and everyone behind the scenes for making this show possible. Until then, I'm Gage Kilborn.
And I'm Dylan Summer. Have a good night, Bobcats.